Hello once again, welcome to Monaco and the last day of the PokerStars and Monte Carlo Casino EPT. That means it's the final table of the 5K main event. We still have 8 players playing down to a winner. And I'll tell you what, if the action today is anything like yesterday, you are in for a treat. I am James Hartigan, alongside me, Maria Ho.
Hi, I'm excited.
I think the important thing to draw attention to, Maria, as we look at the stacks of all 8 finalists, is that it's got pretty shallow because of the pace of play yesterday, a 29 big blind average.
Yeah, I mean, all of the stacks in the middle are bunched up so tightly together that we could be in for a little bit of a long one in the beginning as we're waiting for the first early bust outs to happen.
Obviously, we still have D. Peters. He is a Platinum Pass winner. Important to point out that should he go on to win this, the Platinum Pass will go to the runner-up. It's impossible to win 2 packages to the PSPC in January next year. I mean, the narrative really is Patrick Antonius potentially winning a second EPT title. There's only one 2-time winner on the tour. That's Victoria Coren-Mitchell, who coincidentally was here in Monte Carlo. Now, Patrick won his title back in 2005, so for him to repeat 13 years later would be phenomenal. And of course, he would bag that first prize of 712,000 euros. The jumps with every elimination now, Maria, and that's something that really factors into their decision-making now. With everyone bunched up around the 25 big blind mark, everyone is going to be cautious because they're aware of these money jumps.
Except for maybe Georgie. He may be aware, but he does not care.
Here we go, level 29 of the EPT Monte Carlo main event. Blinds, 50,000, 100,000, a 100,000 big blind ante. The final table of the 5K main event. Today, we crown another champion on the European Poker Tour. Hand number 1. And Javier Fernandez from Spain. A PokerStars qualifier will be the first to act. Even though he hails originally from Spain, Javier lives in the UK. He's folded. It's round to David Peters. And he's got ace-jack suited. We welcome Stapes into the booth.
Hello, my babies.
And look at this, Joe.
No.
He's got 7 deuce.
No.
Once is enough at any final table.
I disagree, but
Patrick Antonius has ace-jack, also suited.
once is enough, but twice isn't too many. That's all I'm going to say.
Patrick just calls in the cutoff. Shemian on the button with king, queen of diamonds. Wow, everyone's getting dealt big cards.
Yeah, and Ole knows that if he shoves, he doesn't really have much fold equity against 2 players, but he's just thinking about how well he's doing against their ranges. You are the shortest stack, so at some point you got to move the chips in, and I think king, queen suited is a fine hand to do it with. You're going to expect to, you know, be in 60-40s, flipping. Those kinds of numbers look good to him at this point.
All in for 11 big blinds. Decision back on the original raiser, D. Peters.
I'm sure Peters is just going to ISO shove as he is the second shortest stack.
Andreas is watching from Sweden and is cheering for Shemian. He's going to need those cheers.
There is a possibility that sometimes Antonius flats the open with a stronger hand than a hand like ace-jack suited, but I think when you're the second shortest stack, as Peters is with 21 big blinds, and you have the opportunity to knock out Shemian and increase your stack, I think ace-jack suited is a good enough hand to do that with. Wow.
He lets it go, and now the decision is on Antonius.
I don't think I can pass.
He calls, putting Ola Shemian at risk. And Shemian will take this spot.
Well, especially with an ace and a jack out, his equity's got to be a little bit better.
We can see that
I think I can pass.
it's close to a
I think
flip
I can pass.
because of the cards that Peters passed.
Couldn't pass.
As things stand, though, Shemian is a slight underdog, and he needs to hit to survive.
Antonius took all his chips in the first place.
Well, it's a jack high at flop, but Shemian has also flopped a straight draw and has 2 live cards, so kings, queens, and tens are all working for him. 10 outs. Deuce on the turn. Takes away some of his outs because it's a heart, and Antonius picks up the nut flush draw to go with top. A non-heart, king, queen, or 10 needed on the river, or we are down to 7 players. The river is a 4, and that'll do it for Ola Shemian. The Sultan of Swag is eliminated in 8th place.
The Bostria from Austria is no more.
He cashes for 68,300 euros. Another big cash for Shemian here in Monte Carlo, where he's had so many ridiculously huge scores. He is a fan favorite. We're sorry to see him go, but we are pleased to see Patrick Antonius stacking chips. He's now playing 4.6 million, a 46 big blind stack. He's second on the leaderboard.
Bag him and swag him.
And hand number 2 sees our qualifier pick up queens. Christian Georgi, now the shortest stack at the table, starts the hand with just shy of 20 big blinds, opens from the hijack to 325,000. Pocket 3s for Antonius. He quickly folds that. Nicolas Dumont is still chip leader. Jack 4 on the button. He folds. Honglin Zhang passes. Fernandez in the big blind.
Two, 7.
Has ace-king. He shoves. Georgi calls, and we're off to the races. It's the sickest, it's the classicest of races.
Everyone should just get their money back. I mean, for the entire tournament. Here's 5,300, here's 5,300. GG.
Our qualifier is at risk. He is ahead, just. Remember, we did see a queen folded.
All we need is really to not see an ace or a king, though.
It's a low flop. Queens are holding.
That's the first hump.
Georgi now a 72% favorite. Fernandez looking for an ace or a king.
Pizzi, 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 kichi, 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 kichi. 7, 7, 7, 7, 7.
Is it always coming 7?
7, 7, 7, 7, 7, 7.
He'll take the 9. And he doubles up.
Is this how it's going to be today? Is it just going to be all-ins every hand because of how late they went last night? How shallow everyone is?
Yeah, I mean, so far there's been pretty big hands being dealt in the first couple hands here.
We're 2 for 2. You can't ask for the high five from the guy that you doubled through.
But you're right, Joe. There needs to be some consolidation of the stacks. And Georgi has catapulted from last place to 3rd place. He's now got 40 big blinds. Javier Fernandez is in the danger zone.
Danger zone!
With just 7 big blinds.
Antonius opened here with ace-queen from under the gun suited and more big hands.
Come on.
So Peters elects to shove from the small blind. All in for just shy of 19 big blinds.
Hard again with the quick math. at the 5,100 blind level.
And Patrick Antonius calls, putting David Peters at risk, but it is Domination Nation, and Peters has the dominating hand. Don't want to lose either of these players. This is a clash none of us wanted to see.
Well, there's only one outcome where we don't lose. Well, they could chop. Peters can double up.
Yes, on this occasion, everyone would love a chop pot.
And I've warmed up my voice this morning, so I'm ready to go.
So there is only one spade on the board.
That takes an out away from Patrick.
He needs to hit a 2-outer. He needs to hit a queen, or David Peters doubles up. The river is a 6, the 6 of hearts, the nut flush for Peters. Patrick Antonius now playing 27 big blinds. David Peters now second in chips at the final table with 39 big blinds. Eight, 6 offsuit. Patrick.
Really thinking about attacking these late position opens, especially with all of the ICM considerations.
Oh, I love it. A 3-bet to 700,000. Dumont with 7-3 in the big blind. He's folding. So back on Peters. And Patrick is 3-betting out of a relatively short stack.
Started with 2.9.
Yeah, and you know Peters isn't going to be able to get out of line even though he's second in chips. If you look at the stacks, he only has 10 big blinds more than what Patrick started the hand with. Oh, well, 7 deuce suited now. King, queen off. Not worthy of an open. 7 deuce suited. You have to continue with the legend that is Georgi. Looks like Dumont's considering 3-betting with 9-6 of hearts. Good timing. We say that until Georgi shoves all in on him, though.
Here we go. Dumont has. You know that song?
No.
You're a big speed metal fan?
No, can't say I am.
Wow. Thought you were cool.
Not today.
Folded around to Zhang. He passes. Fernandez in the small. Shoves.
It's one player to get through.
And a snap call. Fernandez runs ace-4 into ace-10. He is dominated. And he is the player at risk.
El Comatador has not even made it into the building.
Man, tuzi 10. There's tuzi 4. Okay?
Apparently, the border guard was not a fan of his hooks. Pulled aside for extra questioning. Domination Nation.
Fernandez needs to get lucky to survive. Well, he's got 4s and 5s working for him.
At least 10 of diamonds. If diamond.
Backdoor diamonds would also do the trick. No diamond on the turn. So 5 outs for Fernandez. Needs to see a 5 or a 4 on the river. Looks remarkably calm considering. It's a 10 on the river. That's just insult to injury. And we lose Javier Fernandez in 7th place. He cashes out for just shy of 100,000 euros, 99,900.
Okay, nice.
Antonius has opened with 10s. Dumont has kings.
And considering Antonius is the shortest stack, I think there's a chance we might see more chips go in. I think this is a tough hand to get away from.
I'd say nearly impossible.
Under the gun versus under the gun +1.
He does have the option to call still and, you know, see what he believes could be a safe flop, meaning no overcards.
He does just call, leaving himself 20 bigs behind. And what an amazing flop for Dumont, top set.
That's the kind of flop that'll save Antonius some more chips, or at least save him from losing his entire stack this hand.
Checks the action to Dumont.
Ace-King's obviously a very likely hand you put your opponent on when he 3-bets.
You know how I say always bet your sets?
Yes.
I'm okay with him checking this time.
Yeah, he checks it back. Now there are 2 overcards to Patrick's 10s on the board.
And now I think with 2 flush draws, Dumont is going to go for value here, but it might just get Antonius to check fold. Whereas I think Antonius would have considered check calling the flop because he can turn some backdoor equity with, you know, some possible straight draws on the turn. I think this turn card and a delayed c-bet just doesn't look bluffy whatsoever if you're Antonius. And of course, there's a ton of river cards you don't want to see, and Antonius knows that it's very likely just going to get worse for him by the river. It is just 450 into a pot of 1.9 million.
Patrick did call. 2.3 million in the middle now. Quads on the river for Dumont.
I really hope we are not going to use a popular hashtag at the end of this hand.
Hashtag blessed. Hashtag no filter.
You know what one I'm talking about.
Hashtag dilly dilly.
I think the best hand Antonius could possibly have here is probably ace-queen suited. So because of that and because of the misdraws, I think Dumont's going to go for, you know, a sizing maybe like half pot or a little bit less. I think he doesn't.
25,000 is the bet.
525,000, which is roughly a third of Patrick's remaining chips. So if he calls here, he would be left with 10 big blinds, or he can fold, leaving himself a 16 big blind stack.
And it's, you know, just enough to pique his curiosity, but at the same time, it's just so value-y. I don't know.
We've seen Patrick do this before. He thinks it through. He considers all options. It seems pretty obvious 10s are beat here. This would be one heck of a multi-street bluff.
Dumont hasn't really been seen getting out of line with his 3-bets. Patrick raised from under the gun. And, you know, as played when Dumont checks back the flop, bets turn, and bets the river on the small side, there's not a lot of bluffs that he can have.
He hasn't been seen getting out of line. He has been seen picking up huge hands in really pivotal spots.
He's running out of time.
I know he looks like Thanos, but this ain't the Infinity War.
No.
Oh, man, he called.
Patrick calls. He is not eliminated, but it is hashtag severe wounding by quads. And Patrick Antonius is left with just a 10 big blind stack as Dumont increases his chip lead at this 6-handed final table. He now has 7.4 million.
5. Sorry. Nice.
I think now that Dumont's starting to create some distance between him and the other stacks, I think he's going to maybe start getting more aggressive than we've seen.
Hey-yo. So Contador's favorite hand.
Peters is raised.
Pocket hex.
Dumont on the button.
3.7.
Oh, 3.7. Whoa. I got it.
Don't get carried away, Nicola. He folds. Zhang in the small blind. Gives up 6-3, and Yozonis in the big. That's pocket fours.
Fours is a terrible hand. I don't care what these idiot announcers say.
Well, he defends. These guys are second and third in chips. It's a queen 10-6 flop. Action has been checked to Peters, who checks behind. Oh,
Ooh.
4 on the turn.
Yozonis turned a set of fours yesterday, too.
I don't know if there's a greater feeling in all of poker than turning a set. I got you. Oh, I got you.
425.
Yozonis is leading 425K into 580K.
And when Peters checks back the flop, you know, Yozonis doesn't have to have, obviously, a hand as strong as a set of fours to lead into him on the turn. So Peters isn't going to go anywhere.
On the subject of lookalikes, by the way,
Yep.
nomination for David Peters' headshot. His avatar looks like a Twitch emote. What would it signify? When would you post the Peters emote?
That's a really good question.
Well, no jack on the river. The queen pairing the board.
It's maybe when you're trying to act like something's no big deal, like when you should be really excited or happy or sad.
And that's a card that makes me believe, depending on Yozonis' sizing, that Peters could get away from his hand. The backdoor flush gets there. It pairs the queen from the flop. And Yozonis, if he has a 10, depending on, you know,
15.
what kind of 10 he has, he might just check here. So if you know that Yozonis probably won't value bet with just a 10 here, which you beat,
50.
then folding is a real consideration. Because even if he turned some kind of flush draw, straight draw, one of those draws got there. Peters doesn't block a spade.
Well, he's called the 950K. And Yozonis wins a sizable pot, chipping up to 65 big blinds. David Peters drops below the 20 big blind mark.
Looks like Jang
It's a
is
coin flip.
Yeah, we've got an all-in and a call.
Good luck.
Good luck, guys.
Yeah, Antonius gets it in with Jack-8 against Ace-5.
Anyone rooting for me?
Ace-5.
Nobody.
I think you have more fans now than
Nobody.
This could be it for Thanos.
Oh, he's paired his 8. Patrick Antonius takes the lead
more
in this
coin flip.
race.
Normal coin flip. Way in front. 3 outs. 3 outs.
Turn card is a 10. So Patrick just has to fade an ace on the river. Barry Greenstein is not welcome here. Patrick doubles up through Zhang.
Well, one for you, one for me.
Pocket 8s for our qualifier. He's raised it to 260,000. So Antonius has now got 18 big blinds. He's pretty much tied with David Peters at the bottom of the leaderboard.
You know something I wanted to ask you, Maria, and I'll ask Finton and Spraggy as well, but you're, as far as analysts that we've got on the team, you are by far the most experienced in live MTTs. So everyone plays real tight because of ICM considerations on the final 2 table bubbles. On the final table bubble, we didn't lose any players last night. It was real cut and dry, straightforward, nobody taking any chances. And I get that. I understand that. But when everybody does that, then the tournament gets super shallow and you end up having to take these stupid flips. Isn't it better to just gamble up late? Like, isn't it all just going to be take the play out of it anyway? Or is it's better just to...
No, because when people say stuff like I'm playing to win, that's actually not necessarily, I know this sounds kind of counterintuitive, but that's not what you're trying to do. You're trying to finish in the best position that your chips dictate, given your stack relative to the other stack size. So, yes, it does mean that you get shallow. Dumont picking up the pace here with these 3 bets.
Ace-9 for Yozonis in the small blind against the button raise of Zhang. And we just saw a pot play out between these two where the dynamic was going to change because Yozonis has Zhang out chipped. And this might be a situation where we see Yozonis opt for a 3-bet, apply some pressure. His hand certainly plays fine as a call as well, though. And call it is.
I feel like this is a hand that Zhang possibly could have folded. He's opening into the chip leader and also the shortest stack. If he folds this hand, it gives Peters and Yozonis a better chance to clash, and therefore he can just lock up a ladder, because there's going to be a lot of spots where Yozonis shoves and then Peters has the short stacks and call and all in. So I feel like this might be a little bit too wide to be opening the Jack-8 on the button.
The dream flop for David Peters, though, 2-pair, and he started this hand very shallow indeed. He does check. Jiang had the betting lead pre-flop and continues on the flop, I'd say quite optimistically, into 2 players with very little of a connection to this flop. Yozonis sandwiched between the 2 players, can't really do too much with his ace-9 of diamonds, you wouldn't imagine. Peters looking for a check shove?
I would imagine, given that Yang opened this button into 2 stacks, that I imagine Peters doesn't expect him to open that wide, that we'll just see a check shove on the flop. But Yozonis could be fine. I was going to say, he could find himself in a situation like yesterday. He 3-bet the 6-5 off, and D. Peters ended up all in with ace-king behind him, and he was getting about 3-1 on the call, and he couldn't make it. And now he's going to find himself in a position where Peters is, of course, going to shove the flop now, and he's just going to have to make another, probably what will seem like an embarrassing fold, so to speak. Just get his hand caught in the cookie jar.
225 from Zhang. 3-bet to 600, sorry, a raise from Yozonis to 650,000. The 3-bet shove imminent from Peters with his 2-pair.
The thing is for Peters, if he calls here, people might be wanting him to trap, but if he calls, it's just very obvious he has something really, really strong. Whereas if he gets here with like the nut flush draw, maybe he has to be all in at this point, or like a 5-6 of clubs or something with really good equity. Obviously, it's a spot where he's never really bluffing, so it doesn't particularly matter, but I think better just to put the chips in whilst you've almost certainly got the best hand. And like Vitter says, Yozonis is now, whoops.
It's pretty funny that both times he's made a move like this, that it's D. Peters that's woke up with the legit hand behind him.
And that was a significant pot for Peters, who's now up to 26 big blinds out of the danger zone. Patrick Antonius, the low man at the table with 13 big blinds. Well, I'm sure you've heard by now there's a big event coming to the Bahamas in January 2019, the first ever PokerStars Players No Limit Hold'em Championship, the ultimate player experience, a 25k buy-in event with 8 million contributed to the prize pool by PokerStars, plus an extra $1 million added to first place prize money. Now that 8 million contributed comes from the Platinum Passes. A Platinum Pass is a great package. It's free entry to this 25k event, plus spending money, flights and accommodation. And there are more than 300 Platinum Passes being awarded over the course of this year. We've given away several already. There's more to give out over the rest of 2018. Some in live events like the EPT, some online. If you want the details on how you could potentially win a Platinum Pass, head to PokerStarsLive.com. Hand number 40 of the final table. Blinds are currently 60,000, 120,000. This is level 30 of the EPT Monte Carlo main event. Not going to play 7 deuce this time, Georgi. King Queen for Patrick Antonius. Short stack at the table. On the button. 10 big blinds.
We are going to see an all-in every single time.
Yeah, and I don't think any other choice but to shove. And he is all in. Red triangle. And Dumont's got the ace-8 of diamonds.
Ooh.
Got a call. Obviously, you don't want to double up Patrick Antonius, one of the most dangerous players at the table. But given that he's the shortest stack right now and how wide he's shoving the button, I believe you got it. I just can't fold ace-8 suited.
Well, he's going to get a count. 1.3 million. Just over 10 bigs.
Even if he calls and loses here, he's still going to be in pretty much joint first place.
Sounds like he's just announced call. Here we go, poker fans. Patrick Antonius all in and at risk on an EPT final table. He will need to improve to stay in this tournament. His King-Queen versus Dumont's ace-8 of diamonds.
Another coin flip.
He'll take it, 42%.
You run well with these. You'll be all right.
As much as everyone likes
We'll
Antonius,
see.
the people on the table will be very much hoping he doesn't get the double up.
Let's gamble.
Do you think, Patrick? Is it good?
We have a lot of
You like
people.
it's 50-50. That's how I feel.
We have a lot of people in the chat rooting for Patrick Antonius.
A lot of people calling for kings and queens. There is his wife on the rail.
42% of the time, he wins every time.
The flop does not have a king or a queen, but it does give Patrick additional outs. Now a jack will make him a straight. 10 cards Patrick can hit. Still has the same equity he had pre-flop.
Yeah, still over 40% chance he stays alive here. A 9 will do him no favors. Just one card to come.
Queen or jack?
Patrick Antonius needs a king, queen, or jack on the river, or we lose the last remaining former EPT champ. River card is a 7, and that will do it for Patrick Antonius. It was 13 years ago that he won his EPT title in Baden. No second trophy for him, but a 6th place finish worth 139,050 euros.
That's fine.
And at least he doesn't have a long journey home. King 10 of diamonds for Honglin Zhang. He raises to 250,000. King Jack for Yazonis.
I think this is a really reasonable spot for Yazonis to put in a 3-bet, to put in another raise. He does have Zhang covered, so he can apply some pressure. He's got reasonable blockers to strong hands, kings, jacks, ace-king. His hand probably not good enough to want to call, although versus the cutoff, you could certainly make an argument for it. I do like a raise, though, and it looks like Yazonis does too. He's coming in for a 3-bet to 750,000. Are you a fan, Finton?
Yeah, I like it. I'm not surprised, given how we've seen Yazonis play. I heard briefly mentioned in the commentary earlier on that he has the highest amount of online winnings from a player from Lithuania. I feel your guy does this every time it's his big blind. He kind of gives them the stares like, whoa, whoa, whoa.
Yeah.
You realize he's in the big blind here. I'll bluff you with anything. I don't know what he would yesterday with 7 deuce.
He did it yesterday when he had 7-5 of hearts, right? And it went
Use the
raised
time
button.
bank.
Yeah, small blind jammed, and he used the time bank. Maybe, like you say, it's like a don't mess with my big blind.
The problem, of course, is they're getting the information on delay.
Yeah.
You're not doing anything with 7-5.
Yeah.
Or are you?
Did Zhang just say all in? He
Wow.
did. He shoves with a king 10, gets a fold from the better hand.
Wow. That is a very, very ballsy jam, because there are a lot of people shorter than Zhang at this table, so to pull the trigger there is quite something.
Tell you what, Zhang's come alive. Not sure what he had during the break, but he is stepping it up several gears. Dumont opened on the button with king 7. Zhang 3-betting with ace 4 off from the small.
And I hope our Twitch viewer, who is railing his fellow countrymen, decided to stay up for this coverage, because as you say, Zhang now is making all the moves. A 3-bet here to 825k. Yazonis in the big blind with the 10-5 offsuit is going to eventually fold, and king 7 offsuit on the button for Dumont. Again, not a particularly playable hand.
I felt for you during the first level, by the way, Finton, when all these people were making references to Hans Gruber, and all I could think is, poor Finton will have absolutely no idea what they're talking about.
But in that situation, I'm at home, I can Google, I don't have to be embarrassed. I can just nod and smile when I'm in here and like, yeah.
Hans Gruber,
Yeah, that guy.
It looks like Dumont.
50, sorry. 17. 7. I see what?
I thought you said all in.
1725, I think.
No. 17. 50.
Excuse me?
I want to say 1.
Is he 4-betting?
There's some confusion about what he said verbally. The intention is clearly to 4-bet. Zhang thought he heard him say all in. In fact, he was verbally declaring a bet of 1.75 million. So yes, a 4-bet from Dumont, whose instincts seem to be finely tuned, like an engine in the car he uses to teach people how to drive.
Is there anything Zhang can do here? No, he's just going to have to fold. And that's the power of being the biggest stack at the table. You want to 3-bet me? A 4-bet it right back.
So we now reach hand 52. It's the qualifier first to act. Starts the hand with a 23 big blind stack, and he's got ace-king.
Oh, this could be a big moment for Georgi. Huge hand. See his sizing. He has been on the bigger side of things. 280,000.
Pretty reasonable.
Yep. And you spoke about the antes being a little bit more now that we're five-handed, Finton. So
It's 2.5x the big blind.
Yep, seems solid.
Dumont with King 10 suited.
Playing five-handed, you certainly might want to play this hand in some capacity, be it a re-raise, be it a flat call. We are going to see just a call.
Now, Zhang has shown an inclination this level to get a little bit frisky. He's picked up pocket fours on the button.
Obviously, we can see if he was to shove here, he probably will get called.
He's all in.
Yes, he shoved the button with the fours. Georgi's gone full Palpatine.
We can see it's going to be a flip, but I feel like these fours is a little bit on the wide side given how tight Georgi has been. Man, look, does D. Peters have a decision? Has he still got cards in front of him?
No, Peters has folded. The qualifier has to decide whether to call all in with ace-king. This is a race he has to take.
Yeah, we just saw him take the ace-10 shove, so I think if he's taking that spot, he's got to take this one. Ace-king's such a huge hand, five-handed.
And obviously, you'd rather be the one getting your chips in with the ace-king, but out of a 23 big blind stack, he cannot raise-fold this hand.
Completely
No,
agree. Shortest stack in the tournament as well right now. But you can't take it away from that. This is still a huge moment. He's going to be all in and at risk with 5 people left in the EPT. And as he said himself, he wants to win. He wants the glory.
He's de-Palpatined. I don't know what that signifies. Looks like he's playing more time bank cards, buying more thinking time.
You've got to realize this is the culmination of his dream. He's 6 days work towards this point. It could be all over in a flash if he gets it and loses, so you'll forgive him a minute just to take stock of what's going on.
Cool.
He calls. And Dumont, no doubt, will fold pretty quickly, meaning that we are going to flip these cards over and we are going to flip a coin. Classic race underway at the final table. Our qualifiers ace-king against Honglin Zhang's pocket fours.
He's got to be pretty happy to see himself in a flip when he shoves the fours and gets called.
Absolutely. He could so easily have been dominated.
Georgi needs to hit. And remember, we did see a king folded by Dumont. That's why the fours are a 57% favorite here.
I'm nervous for him. You know he's going on a lap around the table if he wins as well.
What a tense moment. Our qualifier all in and at risk and needs help to stay alive.
Zhang's sister hoping that fours hold. He'll be left with 855k, 7 bigs if he loses this flip.
Oh no, 4 in the window. Well, it's not over yet, but it's a great start for Zhang.
We're going to need to see some running cards or a qualifier is going to be out in 5th place. Let's have a 10 of clubs for a sweat.
It's the 6 of spades, which means he is drawing dead on the turn. And sadly, Christian Georgi's journey comes to an end here. The online qualifier, who won his seat in a spin and go, busts in 5th place, cashing for 184,000 euros. An amazing return on investment, an amazing result. He will always be remembered for that hand yesterday, that amazing bluff with the 7 deuce. It'll be seen by people around the world for years to come. And he says he's going to be back in Barcelona, and I cannot wait to see this guy again. So much emotion, so much passion over the last few days.
I love to see that he went and shook everybody's hand. Whilst he celebrated them moments, I don't think he ever went into anybody's face. And as much as he was, you know, he had the moments, he was a good loser as well. He shook everyone's hand. He said he'd see him in Barcelona. Congratulations on a very big score.
So with the elimination of our qualifier, we're down to the final 4. Nicolas Dumont leads with a 74 big blind stack. Zhang in 2nd, Yazonis in 3rd. David Peters is 4th in chips with 22 big blinds. Join us next time from Monaco for the conclusion of the final table of the PokerStars and Monte Carlo Casino EPT.